And welcome to the Comic Corner. My name's Damon. He is AF, buddy. How are you?
I am great, dude. How are you doing? You are
Bright and
it's
early once again.
the crack of dawn. Uh, you have your coffee in hand, most likely 100. Of course, you do.
hmm
Yeah,
Yes, sir. I do. And big show for us, both of us today. This is our first official podcast on the
let's
Agents of Fandom
go.
podcast stream. We made it, buddy. We made it. And for those who are first listening to us, welcome. This is the Comic Corner. What we do here is we talk comics. We interview some of the best, the brightest, the newest, the boldest in the comic book space, like the likes of Chip Zdarsky, Kelly Thompson, Jed McKay. It's the list goes on. You can check all of our past interviews on the YouTube page. But today, what we do is we talk about comics every other week. We come on, we talk about some comics that dropped over the last couple weeks. And what do we have today? We have Birds of Prey concluding its first arc. Green Arrow, did it hit its mark? Probably. Poison Ivy, it needs more love because that book is great. We'll chat about it. And you finally got to read the Beefcake Superman Western Cowboys story. We'll chat about that too. And then we'll briefly touch upon a book Kelly Thompson did called The Coal that is phenomenal. It just wrapped up. But first, speaking of Kelly Thompson, Birds of Prey, that just wrapped up its first arc. And we've talked about this book a lot on the show ever since it first dropped. And it has been so good. So good. This is the conclusion of the first arc. And now I'm not one particular to like longer arcs. This is 6 issues right here. This is a chunky first story. It really dives you into this world. But for what this story is, it deserves it. It earned it. The art in here from Leo Romero, shocking to no one, is phenomenal, as always.
This cover looks so badass. I'm
So
just
good.
staring at it. It looks so good.
It
I
is
haven't
so
caught
good.
up with Birds of Prey yet, but from what I've read thus far, it's like Kelly Thompson's writing is 10 out of 10 perfection, and I can't wait. I I've been leaving this one on the side a bit just to pile up so I can binge it. But now that the arc is complete, I think I'm going to dive right in this weekend.
Money. It is so good. I think the real standout, obviously, Leo Romero's art in here is phenomenal, but Jordi Belaire's colors really make this piece, especially this cover right here, work. It's the color palette that Jordi chooses is great. And of course, the story itself. We finally got to wrap up everything that's been going on over the last 5 issues. I don't want to get into full spoilers yet because you're getting into this, but we do at the end of it tease the second arc. And I think the coolest thing about this story, and when you get into this, and the big kind of like hoopla about this entire book was okay, where's Batgirl? Right? Where's Barbara? She is Birds of Prey. You don't have Birds of Prey without Barbara. And the entire time, we knew that there's a reason. We didn't get into that reason yet until this issue. And man, that reason it makes sense, and it's really cool, and it made me fascinated because I was like, oh man, there's stakes here. So it's great. I can't wait for you to pick this up and read it
Uh,
all one go so we can talk about it.
yeah, and I think we touched on this before as well a couple of episodes ago about how I think you mentioned that Kelly spoke about it, where the team would be on a sort of rotational
Mhm,
basis, because I think one of the solicitations was with Vixen joining the team.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm keen to see how that all comes into play as well. Like, how do you make the team? How do you leave the team, and how does that sort of rotation work?
I think it's what's fascinating is like who's staying. So we do know
Mhm.
Cassandra Cain is staying on this team, and I have a very good feeling that Big Barda is staying. I just have a good feeling. It's
Okay.
not confirmed yet unless you look at solicitations. But Batgirl is back in the fray. So very exciting. Love this book. It is so good, phenomenal. One of the best standout books from last year coming into this year. Loved it. One of the better books from last year as well that you got me hyped up about, and we talked to the artist, also available on the YouTube stream if you want to check out that interview, is Green Arrow AF. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So just right off the bat, the artist for this book was not Sean Isaacs.
Mm.
He stepped out just for this issue, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had something that he had to take care of on his side, and for Esther, he jumped in just to fill the void for this issue. And my word, the art is phenomenal in this book, as you can see from this cover. The cover is still done by Sean Isaacs, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, everything from start to finish, the art is brilliant. Josh Williamson keeps on winning every single time. Uh, Book 7 ended with Connor and Ollie just like speaking about certain things, like the Justice League disbanded. Ollie says that that seems so unlike them. Like, why would they have done it? And then on the roof, you have Onomatopoeia. He's just chilling there, watching them. For those of you who don't know who Onomatopoeia is, he is a serial killer who mainly, I wouldn't say that he only does, but he mainly targets non-powered vigilantes, and that's how he earns his name, because he imitates noises around him. So yeah, I love him as a villain. He's such a cool, underrated ground level villain. But yeah, the entire story, or three-quarter of this book of chapter 8, it's a ruse between Connor and Ali, where it seems as if Onomatopoeia jumps through the roof, shoots Ali, kills him, but no, they're just a really cool father son theater duo. They pull it off, and they find out that Onomatopoeia is working for Amanda Waller. And this goes back to what I've said every single time.
Oh
Dawn
boy.
of DC was created out of Dark Crisis.
Hmm.
Dark Crisis ended with Amanda Waller. That final page with Peacemaker and Peacemaker, and basically her new Suicide Squad that she was trying to build. And Green Arrow, my assumption is Green Arrow is the center point of Dawn of DC, because there's so much Amanda Waller story going on, and the ending of this book is basically them trying to find Roy Harper and Dinah Blackaderi,
Hmm.
and Amanda Waller has them. So now Connor and Ali, they go on their mission to find them, and then the cliffhanger is that Roy Harper's working for Amanda Waller now. So yeah, entertaining, fun. I love it. I can't wait for more. My favorite comic book out of Dawn of DC, and yeah, it just keeps on getting better.
Man, this cover, like you went back to it, this cover is phenomenal because the character is onomatopoeia and the
Yeah.
the sounds and the lettering that goes all around with the thunk and the bam
Yep.
and the thuds, just it's crazy. And like, we want to talk about, characters that could translate well to the big screen or even the small screen. You want to talk about one that really can turn up a horror vibe with sounds all around you, especially if you're in a theater. Could you imagine that? You're in a theater, full surround sound. You just start hearing that all around you, like a little clicky
Yep.
noise, almost Predator style. Oh, that is great. But yes, the Amanda Waller factor between Green Arrow here or like the Titans also a major player and all of that too. But the whole continuity of it all weaving and coming together, so good. That's
Amazing.
that's what we love about comics. You know what I also love about comics? Great storytelling. Fantastic storytelling. The previous book, Green Arrow, was supposed to be a limited series. That then got pushed and expanded to an ongoing run because it's so good. That also happens to this book right here, Poison Ivy by G. Willow Wilson. This is the 19th 15th issue of this run that was supposed to be a limited series that then was expanded upon, that then now officially became a total ongoing. This issue right here is so damn. I mean, first of all, this whole book, this whole series has been phenomenal. I cannot think of one miss in this entire series. It's been that good. It's been consistent. One of the most consistent books on the shelves from DC. And I've been liking, as you know, many DC books that have come out over the past year. This one is just the most consistent 4.5 star reviews weekly on League of Comic Geeks. It's just beloved. And this issue right here is starting a 3-part arc that is a little bit reworking, but diving deeper into the true origin of Pam Isley, going all the way back to when she was in college and how she became who she was. And in her mind, she didn't become Poison Ivy when she got the powers or met Batman. She became Poison Ivy a little bit prior to that, and it all centers around another character named James Woodrow, who's kind of like the puppet master behind all of this, a high professor who she's kind of fell in love with as a young undergrad and was manipulating her to do terrible things, but in the name of good and for what she thought was going to benefit the world. That's what makes a good villain, is someone who truly believes in what they're doing is good. Because in her mind, what they were studying, which is kind of like a animal slash plant hybrid that can help humanity going forward with illnesses, limbs, all this stuff, just turns into something very, very different. You could probably imagine where it's all going. It's
Yeah.
where she ended up getting her powers from.
Yeah.
But it's phenomenal. The art from Masayo Takara, always on point. The colors, just so good. I love this book so much. I just need more people to talk about this book because reason. There is a reason this thing was expanded upon to be a complete
Yeah.
ongoing run. It is that good. And full credit also to G. Willow Wilson, who had kind of like, a limited series of mine and is still able to keep going as an ongoing writer. And the storytelling is still there, if not better now.
But
It's
we
it's
expect
great.
that from her, right? I mean, she's that
Yeah.
good. She's that good, and I haven't started with this book at all. But the more you speak about it, the more you speak about the art, the writing, everything. It just makes me want to go out and go get a trade instead, just to start reading up and see where everything goes. Because, like you said, like Pam, she is she's a different type of villain, and there's certain times when you feel like you can sort of understand her, like what she's trying to do. She just executes everything in a way that you don't agree with. But yeah, I mean, a la Thanos as well in the MCU, like he really believed what he was doing was the correct thing. But I mean, like from humanity point of view, like that's not the correct thing. But yeah, I'm totally into this. I will pick up the trade the moment my local comic book store gets them, and yeah, I'll check it out.
It truly is worth it. It's that good. The first arc is Pam going around essentially just trying to end humanity. Clearly that didn't work out and it kind of backfired on her in the end. So it's been great. It's been so good, and a book we've both been enjoying, also from a writer that we've talked about earlier that you finally got to read.
I
Cowboy
finally got to read it.
Superman.
Look at that!
Cowboy
Look
Superman is
at
here.
that specimen! Amazing!
For those
Check out.
listening on the podcast, we have a Superman rocking a great cowboy hat with a scarf that is very symbolic of his cape. He was sent back in time. AF, how we talked about this on an earlier podcast. I did, at least. How did you like the story?
I enjoyed it. I feel like it was a good sort of diversion to the main story that we've been consuming month in and month out. So and they tied it in quite nicely to the main story, to Madeline Moonlight, and um, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I know that everybody, like the moment you said Josh Williamson called him Beefcake, um, the moment I got to those pages during that duel between him and Tedderman, and I was like, "Oh, there we go, there it is, beefcake for everybody to see." Yeah, so I mean, pick up this issue if you haven't already. It is amazing. The overarching story is still there with Graft. Just and I think the final pages were yeah, it was the kryptonite gas. That's what it was. Superman coming back to Supercorp and just like falling into that trap. So that's a nice little cliffhanger that I'll probably have to wait another month and a half for. Not happy about that. But yeah, yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this run. Josh Williamson, like I said earlier, keeps on winning. He's been hitting it out of the park on both fronts, and yeah, I can't wait to see more.
Although I do miss Jamal Campbell's art on this book, when you have Bruno Redondo step in, that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah. I
win
mean,
on its own because I
that's
love
coming
and
from you as a Nightwing reader. Yeah,
exactly just about to bring that up because I adore that Nightwing book, and half the reason is Tom Taylor's writing on it, and the other half of the reason is Bruno Redondo's art is phenomenal. So being able to see him take on Superman in this issue, even if it was just for an issue, was so cool. The backstory we get on Marilyn Moonlight, got to see a little bit more of
yep,
her, and it still ties into, as you mentioned, the grander Superman story is very cool. The secrets of Metropolis coming out piece by
yep,
piece. A book I wanted to mention very quickly before we move on is The Cole. Kelly Thompson's The Cole, also from Atia de Luis. And this has finally, not finally, but this is concluded after 5 issues, at least. The first part has concluded after 5 issues because it does leave a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end, which is so cool. I was not expecting this book. I was not expecting to where it was going at all. I was truly not expecting to where this book was going in terms of the plot. The art in here from Mattia De Lewis is, I keep saying, if you love that realistic painted, just like you look at a panel like that is just someone I know that looks like a real person. That is this book. It is gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous art. The story in here, it goes nuts. But in all credit to Kelly Thompson on here, because again, like I said, I was not expecting this to kind of take the turn that did. We kind of went into this being like, ooh, Goonies vibes. You're going on a little adventure, and man, does that adventure take
mm,
a turn, a loop, another turn, down a hill. It gets nuts. So if you are interested in this, isn't even a teen adventure. This is you can say like late teen, early 20s adventures of a group of friends just trying to go out and find a long lost brother, and shit happens because things are not what they thought it would be, and they go into essentially a whole nother world, and it's crazy. It
I
gets
was going to ask,
nuts.
is this similar? Uh, okay, it's probably not similar, but from what you've been saying now, it sounds like there's some elements of Paper Girls in here as well. I'm
Hmm.
not sure if you read Paper Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure. There's elements, I guess you could say, but I don't know. This just to me, it was just so unique because it just got crazy, and I loved. And again, the ending here was like mind blowing. I was not expecting where any of this was going. It was super cool. Um, Man, this book, just go read it. If you're not picking this up on single issues, because it has concluded, when this trade comes out, this is going to be a amazing trade to read. If you like sci-fi, if you like adventure stories, if there's a little bit of like superhero-ness in here, just a little bit. If you like YA drama, all of that, you'll dig this.
I feel like we are calling out Emma. Emma, if you are listening to this,
Emma, you
I
will
think
dig this book.
I think Damon just called you out.
Emma, you will dig this book. Emma is another member of the Agents of Fandom, in which we do our comic book reading club. Every month or so, we kind of get together with some newer comic book readers who are new to this space, and we read comics that are good to get into a character. The last time we did it, it was Superman for All Seasons, my favorite Superman story. I know you love that story as well. Coming up
Yep.
later this month, in just a few weeks, we have a book that I already mentioned today. Nightwing Leaping into the Light. I love this Nightwing run in the first volume. I just reread it after we decided to do that book as a reading club, and I just love it more every time. There's just aspect like it's great. It's great. And I continuously say if that whole series, when it finally concludes, sticks its landing, it has potential to leap Matt Fraction and David Aja's Hawkeye run, in my opinion. Now, the last
Oh
few issues
wow.
have gotten a little crazy. They've gotten a little out there, but so did that Hawkeye run. We had some issues in there that was just like nutso, but that's what I like about it. And now we're just going to start to bring it back all together. It's been great. So I can't wait for all of us to come together and read that
Yep.
fantastic series. And we had some fantastic news
Yep.
yesterday, AF. Some utterly fantastic news. Do you want to talk about it?
So yeah, like I told you last night, or it was my last night. It was still the afternoon for you. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
chose I chose the wrong night to stay off social media. So the moment I came on, I lost my mind because what on earth that like that casting to me is amazing. I
Mm-hmm.
know that I'm probably going to get some sort of backlash for this, but
Well,
I
let's talk about the casting first, just in
okay.
case anyone has been off the interwebs as well.
Yep.
We have our cast for Fantastic Four. Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. Joe Quinn, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. And Iban Moss Backrack, Ben Grimm, the Thing. So there we go. What do you think of that cast? I know there's one in particular.
I I li- I like them all. I
Hmm.
am totally behind every single one of them. And as I was going to say, I'm probably going to get backlash for it, but I love Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. I think he was phenomenal in uh, Stranger Things. There is a short film that I think everybody should watch called Kin, and I think he outdoes himself in that movie. I think his acting is fantastic, and I mean that's probably what Marvel Studios is looking for: somebody that can act instead of somebody that just really looks good. And Joseph Quinn's not a bad looking guy. Come on, like let's face it. He's not a bad looking guy. Come on. Like he's not Chris Evans level, but okay. Who's going to do that again? But yeah, I'm happy about it. I think he's going to kick it out to the park, and it's just it's going to be amazing
Hey,
or
look, I
fantastic.
mean,
Sorry.
he will look fantastic. They are all fantastic. I've always said this about Marvel Studios casting in particular. They have a very high hitting percentage. It's not perfect. There's a couple in there that, you can kind of go, but for the most part, a very high hitting percentage when it comes to casting. And ever since the Chris Evans casting, when they announced the Human Torch was going to play Captain America, and everyone thought they were nuts, that they
People
were
hated it.
crazy for that.
Yep.
And then look how it turned out. So my whole thing with Marvel Studios casting is I will never judge it until I see it because they know
Yep.
something that I don't. I'm not a casting director. We're all just fan castings, and most of our fan castings are utter shit. To be blunt, we just put someone who looks like that character, and it's like, see, they can do it. And it's like, but can they? But can they? So what? I don't know. What's one? once when Joe is able to get into that weight room, I'm sure
Yep.
people change their minds on some things. I guarantee that. Um, that's it. We wanted to fly through this episode, and we did. Any books coming out next week or next 2 weeks, AF, that you want to highlight? Because I have plenty.
So yeah, for me, I'm gonna go with the two that I spoke about today. Green Arrow, that cliffhanger. I need to see what's happening next. And yeah, Superman, the story just keeps on captivating me, and I'm along for the ride.
I'm having a little bit of a crossover with comicbook.com's Comic Book Nation, the poll list. So if you want to check that out on Wednesday, the 21st at 11 a.m. Eastern, I will be on with Matt Aguilar talking
Nice.
many, many books next week, including books that we definitely will be talking about the week after, because holy cow, did I look out with this week. Let's talk about books coming out just next week. Wonder Woman, Titans, The New Superman, Nightwing, and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh
That's
wow.
just next week. gotta
R.I.P.
gotta
Bank account.
Oh man, yeah, rip our bank accounts, but like, man, those are quality. Every single one of those, a quality comic book in 2024. So go check that out on the YouTube page and also on the Comic Book Nation podcast. We will be back in a few weeks to discuss those books, and soon after that, we will do our comic book reading club. And also, we were welcoming back a very special guest for in our next interview, Adam Barnhart, also from
Nice.
comicbook.com, but he just opened up his new comic shop. Adam was also the very first interview on the Comic Corner. It all started with Adam. We're checking back in with him, seeing how his whole comic book universe is doing. He has a new book coming out. He has a couple new books coming out. One of them on a Kickstarter, one of them you can pre-order now. Macabre Mail on his website, so go check that out. And that is that. AF, any final words?
Yeah, just keep on reading comic book, guys. Like, support your local comic book stores.
Mhm.
Sometimes it is a bit tough for them. So yeah, keep on walking into their stores, keep on talking to them, interacting with them. It means so much to them. But yeah, that's all from me.
Shout out Boom 2 Comics. We got Steve Orlando coming in soon, coming in March. So go check that out. Go check out the website. Go check out the Facebook, the YouTube, the Instagram page. YouTube. No, there's no YouTube page for them. Go check out the Facebook, the Instagram, and all their pages to find out when exactly that is. It is sometime in March. But Steve Orlando, the writer of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver run, that also just dropped this week. I read that. Very enjoyable. And just a Scarlet Witch run, Iceman, many other. Look at that. That is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous box. I have holding a Scarlet Witch short box. I actually have that one too. That one is right there, which is great for our audio
Nice.
listeners. That'll do it for this episode of the Comic Corner. Be sure to check out your local comic shops. Go support them. Go read some comics and enjoy the rest of your day.